What makes you, you? It sounds like a simple question, right? But it's something philosophers have been wrestling with for centuries. And today, we're going to dive right in and try to untangle this massive puzzle of what personal identity even is.
So last time, we saw just how fragile memory can be. We watched a man's whole connection to his past pretty much vanish.
This time, though, the stakes are way higher. We might lose something much, much bigger than just a memory. Because it begs the question, if memory isn't what makes you you, then what is? Or about the question whether that solid self you think you know was ever really there in the first place.
Okay, so to start this whole investigation, we're not going to begin with a person. Nope. We're going to start with a ship, an ancient one. It's a classic thought experiment that honestly just perfectly sets up the whole problem of identity.
All right, so the story goes like this. Imagine the people of Athens want to preserve the ship of their hero, a guy named Theseus. It's a national treasure, but, over the years, the wood starts to rot. So every time a plank gets old and decayed, they carefully take it out and replace it with a brand new, totally identical one. And they keep doing this, plank by plank, for years and years, until, eventually, not a single splinter of the original wood is left.
So here's the million-dollar question. Is that ship, the one sitting in the harbor right now, is it still the Ship of Theseus? I mean, it looks the same, it has the same name, but it's made of completely different stuff. What do you think? Is it the same ship?
And just when you think you have an answer, the philosopher Thomas Hobbes comes along and just blows the whole thing up. He adds a twist. He says, okay, what if some guy was sneakily collecting all those old rotten planks as they were being thrown away? And what if he reassembled them in his backyard? So now, you've got two ships. You have the restored one in the harbor, made of all new wood, and you have this reconstructed one made of all the original pieces. Which one is the real Ship of Theseus? Now it's a real headache, right?
And here's why this old boat puzzle matters so much. This isn't really about a ship at all. It's about you. See, your body does the exact same thing. Your cells are constantly dying and being replaced. They say that every 7 to 10 years or so, almost every single atom that makes up your body is completely new, gone, replaced. So, if none of the physical stuff is the same, how on earth can you still be you?
Well, for a long time, the go-to answer for this came from the philosopher John Locke. He had this big idea that, hey, maybe identity isn't about our bodies at all. Maybe it's in our minds, specifically our memories. But as it turns out, that theory, well, it ran into some pretty big problems.
And this is where we get the brave officer paradox, thanks to a philosopher named Thomas Reid. So picture this. There's a young boy who steals an apple from an orchard. Years go by, and he grows up to be a brave young officer. In a big battle, he captures an enemy flag, a huge heroic moment. And as he's standing there, he remembers being that little kid stealing the apple. Okay, so far so good. But then, many more years pass. He's now an old, decorated general. He vividly remembers being the brave officer who captured the flag, but he has completely, totally forgotten ever stealing that apple as a boy. The memory is just gone.
So, if we follow Locke's rule that you are your memories, we run into a huge logical contradiction. Look, the general is the officer because he remembers capturing the flag, and the officer is the child because he remembers stealing the apple. Simple math, right? A equals B, B equals C, so A should equal C. But wait, the general is not the child because he can't remember stealing the apple. The chain is broken. It's a total paradox. Identity can't work like that, right? It can't just depend on memories that we can lose.
But the problems for Locke's theory didn't stop there.
Oh no. Another philosopher, Joseph Butler, came along and said there's an even bigger, more fundamental flaw here. He basically said Locke's whole argument was a logical circle.
Okay, so Locke's big idea was that memory creates your identity. But Butler said, no, you've got it completely backwards. And he had this great analogy. Locke's view is like saying that the video footage creates the camera that filmed it. It's absurd, right? It makes zero sense. Butler argued that identity has to come first. You, the continuous you, have to exist before you can make a memory. The camera has to exist to record the footage. So your identity is the camera, and memories are just the footage it's been recording all along. Memory doesn't create you, it just proves you were there.
Okay, Butler's idea sounds pretty comforting, doesn't it? It suggests there's this solid, real you, the camera, underneath everything. But don't get too comfortable, because the next philosopher we're going to look at takes that idea and just shatters it into a million pieces. He claims the self we've been searching for, it's just an illusion.
All right, let's try a little experiment together. This comes from the philosopher David Hume. I want you to do this with me, right now. Just for a second, close your eyes if you want, and look inward. Try and find the thing, the entity, that you call I. Go on. Try to catch yourself in the act of having a thought.
So what'd you find? Did you find a thinker? Hume's big claim is that you didn't. You can't. He argues that you will never find some stable, continuous I sitting in there. You can't point to it. Instead, you just kind of stumble upon something else. What you actually find is just a stream, a chaotic parade of perceptions. You know, a feeling of warmth from your coffee cup, a flicker of annoyance, the memory of a song, a feeling of love, a pang of pain, a moment of pleasure. It's just this constant river of thoughts and feelings, one flowing right into the next at incredible speed.
This is what's known as Hume's famous bundle theory. His point is that you are the bundle of perceptions, and that's it. And he has this perfect metaphor for it. He says, when you look inside your mind, you find all the guests in the house. Those are your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations, but you never, ever find the owner of the house.
So if there's no owner, what is the self? Hume says it's just a name, a convenient label we slap onto this chaotic bundle of experiences. Think about a hurricane. We give it a name, right? Hurricane Ian. But there isn't some solid thing called Ian at the center of it all. It's just a pattern of wind and rain moving in a particular way. If the movement stops, the hurricane is gone. Hume says that's us. We're not a thing, we're a pattern.
Okay, let's fast forward this pretty radical idea into the science fiction age with a thought experiment from a more modern philosopher, Parfit. It's called the teletransporter. Imagine a machine here on Earth scans every single atom of your body. It records everything, your memories, your personality, every thought. Then it destroys you, vaporizes you. And at the exact same instant, a machine on Mars rebuilds a perfect atom-for-atom copy of you. This copy wakes up with all your memories, thinking it just stepped into the machine a second ago. So, is that person on Mars you?
I mean, our gut reaction is to scream, no way. The person on Earth just died, right? But Parfit's answer is kind of mind-bending. He says we're actually asking the wrong question. This obsession with identity, with being one single unique thing, that's what's tripping us up. He argues what really matters isn't identity, it's survival. As long as your psychological pattern, your memories, your beliefs, your hopes and dreams, continues on in that copy, then you've survived. For all practical purposes, that's good enough.
So, where does that leave us? Let's recap. We've seen that we're probably not our bodies, since they're constantly changing. We're not just our memories, because those are unreliable and they fade. And we might not even be a self at all, but just a fleeting bundle of thoughts. It's a lot to take in. Maybe the best way to wrap our heads around this is with one last, really powerful metaphor.
Think about your identity. It's not a statue. It's not some solid thing carved out of stone, permanent and unchanging for all time. No, instead, it's a river. Think about it. Every single second, the water flowing past is brand new water. The contents are in constant flux. The individual drops are always being replaced. You literally can't step into the same river twice. But the river itself continues. The riverbed, the path that your life has carved through time, that remains, the shape of your story and the name we call that river, that stays the same.
So I'm gonna leave you with this one last thought to chew on. The next time you wake up and look in the mirror, ask yourself this: are you really the same person who went to sleep last night? Or are you just the next drop of water flowing through a river that we happen to call you?